Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. Financial Secretary tells business sector not to worry about government's proposal to amend extradition laws. Vice Commerce Minister optimistic about reaching a trade deal with the U.S. And massive power outage in Venezuela continues into second day. Financial Secretary Paul Chan has told Hong Kong's business sector not to worry about the government's proposed amendments to extradition laws, as the city's independent judiciary would prevent abuses of the law. Yeung reports.
The business sector has joined pan-democrats in opposing the government's proposal to amend the city's extradition laws. The policy change would allow fugitives in Hong Kong to be transferred to the mainland, Taiwan or Macau. Several pro-establishment lawmakers representing the business sector have expressed reservations about the amendments. They were worried local business people could be extradited to the mainland for inadvertently breaking the law there, such as the complex tax laws. Even international business interests have voiced their opposition. In a letter submitted to Security Secretary John Lee on Thursday, the American Chamber of Commerce expressed its serious reservation to the proposal. It also claimed that the mainland legal system was often abused to criminalize what are essentially commercial disputes between foreign and local business interests. Speaking on a radio program today, Financial Secretary Paul Chan said it was too early to say what the amendment would mean to Hong Kong's business sector. He insisted that the city's judicial independence would protect against abuses of the amended extradition law.
The justification for the extradition must be must be an act that is considered to be criminal in both Hong Kong and the jurisdiction where this act is committed. The Hong Kong court would be the gatekeeper, and there are full right of appeal for the individual concerned.
Chan said the security chief would explain the matter more in the future in order to remove any misunderstanding. Meanwhile, the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission has suggested the U.S. Congress review the Hong Kong Policy Act. The act allows Washington to treat Hong Kong separately from mainland China on trade and economic control matters since the 1997 handover. The U.S. State Department is expected to deliver its annual Hong Kong Policy Act report later this year, but there are concerns that the U.S. may cancel the act if it believes Beijing is tightening its grip on the city. When asked if he believed Hong Kong could survive without the act, Chan urged the public not to speculate.
For us in Hong Kong, we have, over the past decades, gone through a lot of different challenges. We are very resilient. We will be able to rise to any challenge.
HKIBC.
8 people were injured after a minibus crashed into a private car in Sham Shui Po at around midnight. Police said a red minibus was traveling from Yuen Long to Jordan when it smashed into a 7-seater as it approached Lai Chi Kwok Road near Sham Shui Po police station. Both drivers and 6 minibus passengers suffered injuries to their heads and arms. Officers did not rule out one of the drivers jumping a red light, but they were still looking into the matter. No arrests have been made so far. A 48-year-old doctor has been arrested for allegedly consuming cannabis while on duty. The associate consultant at Tuen Mun Hospital's emergency ward left his station at 11 p.m. on Tuesday, 1 hour earlier than scheduled. He was unreachable by his colleagues. The doctor returned at midnight and was said to be behaving strangely. His colleagues were worried that he was sick and suggested he get a blood and urine test. The tests returned positive for cannabis. The doctor has been released on bail pending further investigations. At the mainland's largest political event of the year, Vice Commerce Minister Wang Shouwen said he remained optimistic about reaching a trade deal with the U.S. There were 13 press conferences on the sidelines of the two-week two-sessions meeting in Beijing, but the one held by the Ministry of Commerce had an especially large foreign media presence. While Commerce Minister Zhong Shan took center stage, the bulk of the questions were directed at his right-hand man Wang Shouwen, China's deputy trade representative.
Will China accept a gradual removal of U.S. tariffs as part of any trade deal? Can China accept a U.S. enforcement mechanism that threatens a snapback of tariffs if the U.S. decides that China isn't living up to any deal? Does any deal require the removal of all retaliatory tariffs by both sides? And how are the talks going at the moment? Do you expect to be going to Mar-a-Lago later this month? Thank you.
双向的、公平的、平等的。
The implementation of all measures must be reciprocal, fair, and equal, Wang answered. As for the prospects of the next round of China-US trade negotiations, my feeling is that there is hope. The Vice Commerce Minister emphasized that the two sides have been working tirelessly to narrow their differences. He revealed for the first time that in Washington last month, delegates ordered takeaway meals so they could spare more time for trade talks.
刘副总理吃的是牛肉汉堡。
Vice Premier Liu He had a beef burger, while U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer had stir-fried chicken with eggplant, he recalled. There was coffee and tea, but they both chose to drink water. That is how you find common ground. He added that imposing tariffs